It is Monday night. This is your host, Matt Hasley. We're coming to you live February 1st, 2016, in the heart of the Iowa caucus. I attended the Iowa caucus. We're going to talk about that here shortly. I'd like to welcome everybody to a February. Hard to believe it's already February. We've gone through January. January's history. And I attended with my wife. We went, and it is actually the first time I voted in every presidential election that I can remember. But this is the first time that I've ever gone to a caucus. I have my results from one of 63 polling locations that I went to, my location, and I've had some other people that I've talked with that have told me what their votes were at their place. But I'm looking at watching it live. Got the ticker going right now on TV, so we keep live updates of who's leading. This is an election that could change the world. But before we get into that, special thanks to our sponsors out there. Eat24.com. Have you ate yet? Well, if you haven't, log on to Eat24.com. Download that app for your favorite mobile device. Click, order, and eat. It's like a food truck in your pants. Really, guys and gals. It's just that easy. Also, creative-mktg.com for ideas at work. Need a lasting impression for your next family or business function? Well, they can do it. Over 700,000 products. Check them out at creative-mktg.com. Also, hotsaucevault.com. Check out Louie in Chi-Town. He will set you up, get you some hot sauce shipped right to your door. Check him out at hotsaucevault.com. Louie the Man. Also, St. Julian's Macaroons. Well, the Price family's been baking these goodies since the 70s with FDA-approved gluten-free. All the quality ingredients. So they've been baking these babies for a long time. You can get them delivered right to your door. Check them out at www.macaroons.com, and you'll sure to enjoy. Well, I attended. We got there early. We had 311 votes cast at the location I was at. They had all the different candidates. They had somebody from each candidate get up and speak. We had, from the polling location, they gave us a ballot. And the ballot, it says first in the nation. It's a 2016 caucus. It says listed the candidates were Jeb Bush, Ben Carson, Chris Christie, Ted Cruz, Carly Fiorina, Jim Gilmore, Lindsey Graham, who is scratched out, Mike Huckabee, John Kasich, George Pataki, who's scratched out because they both withdrew, Graham and Pataki. Then you got Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, Rick Santorum, and Donald Trump. Well, I talked to one of the other ladies that was at one of the other polling places. She told me that at her location, they had so many different rooms. There were so many. There's 63 actual polling locations. Well, she was at the one that she was at. They had 30 for Trump, 27 for, I want to say it was 27 Cruz, and then 25 for Rubio. Oh. So, I'm going to have to turn those down, boy, but Jimmy poked me, and I'm going to have to do is turn those things down. My God, the sounds of that. But at the location I was at, we had 311 votes. We had, let me see here. There we go. All right, we had 311 votes. We had, I'm going to give you the exact breakdown. Let's see, because I put them all down. We had Marco Rubio had 80. Donald Trump had 72. Ted Cruz had 50. John Kasich, 26. Rand Paul, 19. Ben Carson had 20. Looks like next would have been Jeb Bush had 17. Let's see, Huckabee had 3. Chris Christie had 10. Rick Santorum had 7. And he was the 2012 Iowa caucus winner, Rick Santorum. John Gilmore had 0. So we had people get up and speak for each candidate. Well, most of the candidates. Not everybody had somebody there to speak for them. Some people that didn't have a candidate to speak for, somebody got up and spoke for them. Although there was nobody there for John Gilmore. But it looks like there was a pretty good turnout. You know, I mean, you look at Donald Trump apparently won the other location that a friend of mine was at. I'm still waiting for results for some of the other people. It's very close race right now. The Democratic race, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are 50% to 49%. Martin O'Malley has 1%. And that's 79% reporting. 75% in for... Oh, it says 97% in for 28% Cruz, 24% Trump, 23% Rubio. Carson's at 9%. So I look to see, the first two that make it out of Iowa caucus. You're going to start seeing people drop off. Martin O'Malley's got to. I would think he's going to drop. I don't think. I never heard of him being in Iowa. He might have. I got some phone call messages every time you come home. Every night there was 6-8 messages from all the candidates. My answer machine was just riddled with phone calls, and it's nonstop ringing. A lot of times, if you don't answer, they don't leave a message. It's one of those phone polls, and it's just nonstop. So, on to the next location after tonight. So at least the phone calls are going to die down, and the commercials are going to die down, because every single commercial you see right now is either bashing one candidate or the other. It's been, I don't know what you want to call it, quite a month, you want to say. I'm not getting my... I'm getting my audio. God, I just have nothing but audio problems lately. Whew, it's frustrating to deal with. Well, at least my Ustreamers have been listening to it live, so it's been going nonstop for their. I thought everything was good to go. I had my music going good, and I don't know what's going on with this, Sam. It's got to be Primcast. Primcast has been a frustration lately. But that's we're broadcasting live on 3 platforms. We got TuneIn, Spreaker, and Ustream. Once again, for the vote tally for the polling place that I was at, it was Marco Rubio with 80, Trump with 72, and Cruz with 50. John Kasich with 26, Ben Carson with 20, Rand Paul with 19, Jeb Bush 17, You got Chris Christie at 10, Huckabee 3, Rick Santorum 7, Carly Fiorina 7, and Gilmore 0. So, I mean, quite... they said right now Ted Cruz is leading with 43,052 votes. Donald Trump second with 37,868. You know what I dislike is they go, 99% reporting. I don't believe the BS that they got. You know, it just, I don't know. I'll believe it when it's all done. I don't know. Sorry about that. But, we got, besides what's going on for president, you're going to see next going to New Hampshire. And you're going to see that the circus is going to go on to New Hampshire. And you'll see the same thing going on. I don't know how long they have before they vote in New Hampshire exactly. But it's, I'm sure it's going to be quick. It's got to be within probably the next week or two. So at least, it's going to start to calm down. It says Donald Trump, Ted Cruz locked in dead heat in Iowa GOP race. So I would say that's a pretty close race. And plus the fact is the first... the delegates that you get out of the first out, I think you get, I want to say it's 8 for first place, 6 for second place. So, I mean, it's going to be a neck and neck race going out of Iowa. Not to say that you win Iowa, the delegate, like Ted Cruz. Rick Santorum won, I don't know how many years, 4 years ago, and didn't get anywhere did not get the nominee. So just because you got the nominee or you win Iowa doesn't mean that you're going to win the nominee, but at least it's going to start weeding out some candidates that don't need to be there. Like you look at anybody that's got to be, I mean, Rand Paul won't step down, but the top 4 from beyond that, Jeb Bush is only 3%, John Kasich's 2%, Carly Fiorina 2%, Mike Huckabee 2%, Chris Christie 2%. You know, you got to start thinking about when it's time to do is drop out and back somebody else. So I don't know what they have plans, but I listened to we had a lot of conversation, and there's a lot of people talking. Everybody talking at the, because I knew tons of people there. And pretty much everybody that was there, it was that big a turnout because people are fed up. They're just sick and tired of what's going on with this country right now. That's the biggest thing I heard out of everybody that was there. They're just tired of getting, kicked in the face for trying to do the right thing. It's gotten so irritating that right now they got Rubio's group up there all clapping and cheering and waving around, but it's the people in the United States are fed up the way it's going right now. So, but what amazes me is you look at the Republican or the Democratic side. If you could consciously vote for Hillary Clinton, something's wrong with you. With all the stuff that she's done. And if you could try to just overlook that and go, oh, well, I heard the saying is they all lie. Well, then we just don't need to vote him in. If that's the case, then you need to do is rethink your candidate. Santorum was 1% and Gilmore was less than 1%. So, I mean, you got to do is think about drawing out. I don't know how you can, Yeah, it's 28, 24, 23 right now. Said just called it for look, Ted Cruz wins the Iowa caucus. I figured that it was probably going to go for Cruz going out of there for what I heard. I think that it's very close to where you go on to the first. It actually ended up Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio with 23, and then Ben Carson with 9%. So the top four right there, and then you got, I think it's Rand Paul after that. So you got to think of your top 4 or 5 candidates out of there. Everybody else got to think about just dropping out because they got nothing out of Iowa. Hopefully it weeds out some. You get down, and we can, you start to get serious candidates in there. I don't know how the Republicans don't have a real good chance at winning this election. If you're going against a admitted socialist and somebody that could end up being in prison by the time election rolls around, well, it would be a shock if they don't indict her. Or actually, I should probably not. I should probably say it won't be. But other news, we got. Let's see here. We got. I wanted to do is before we get in it, we're going to talk about get into any really serious stories. We got the Super Bowl 50. They had the big Super Bowl 50 logo out there. They finally took it down because it was getting vandalized so many times. So they finally took the big Super Bowl 50 logo down. It's the first year that they hadn't used Roman numerals. And but what was funny is they, if you hadn't seen the article about it, it said that they were painting the logo for the Super Bowl. And they had said Broncos logo was painted in both ends of the Super Bowl stadium by mistake. So the story goes out. It says on January 26th, the crew prepping for Levi's Stadium for Super Bowl 50 accidentally painted the Denver Broncos logo at both ends of the football field. So they had to cut all the sod out. So as ABC or CBS photographer James Martin tweeted a photo where he nearly erased Broncos logo in the second end zone remained somewhat visible. So yeah, that would have been pretty comical to start the game with that. It says, see the faint remains of Broncos in the end zone. Grounds crew painted the logo on the wrong side. So, and that's probably not an easy task to do, to paint that logo out there. So somebody probably got a little bit of trouble. So, in other news, it says NFL is decided to split the Thursday Night Football with half CBS or ABC, I'm sorry, and half NBC. So they're going to make, I guess they're going to trade off or somehow, but that's probably got to be big bucks. I'm not sure if I really care, but it's going to be confusing to find out which week it's what week it's on. In golf, there was I guess it's been a bit of a ruckus going on, especially on Twitter. Gary McCord, he used a wind expression, or used the expression "raked by the wind," RAKED, and apparently he was. He's always known for being a little bit colorful, as you would call it, but apparently, it says a CBS spokesman confirmed for the win on Monday that golf commentator Gary McCord was using the common weather expression, raked by the wind. While describing the bad weather during the final round of the Farmers Insurance Open, McCord, who was once banned from commentating at the Masters for using the term bikini waxed, did not say raped by the wind, as many on Twitter thought initially. And then they played the clip, and McCord actually come out and said, and their tweets, it said, raped by the wind? Really, Gary McCord? And then somebody else say, what did he say? And then another one came out. There's a debate going on. Did he say raped by the wind or raked by the wind? And people heard what they wanted to hear. Well, it turned Twitter into a firestorm over this because they want to, they want to see somebody get fired or something like that because they want to be the one to call in. I've never understood. I can understand, being upset about it and tweeting and like this, but golf is one sport that I could never understand why somebody makes they'll make a ruling and somebody will call in to the broadcast and claim they saw a rules violation and they take the call. If they didn't handle it there, they shouldn't be able to call in. If it was a mistake, oh well, because it's unfair to take a phone call for somebody watching the broadcast because this person could make the same mistake that it never gets on TV because he's not playing as well, and then the last day of the tournament, all of a sudden he gets on TV because he's playing great. So it's an unfair to a guy that's always near the lead because he's going to be having to answer to call-in rules, self-imposed rules officials. I know no other sport that takes a phone call to sit there and say, oh, well, I think that was a touchdown because it looked like he dragged his foot. You better double-check that, They don't do that. They don't do that with football. They don't do it with baseball. They don't do it with any other sport besides golf. And I don't understand why these guys are answering the phone. Right now, it says Mike Huckabee to suspend presidential campaign. So there's one already dropping out. Huckabee got 2%. So I think this is going to be it's going to clear some of the dead wood, as you call it. I don't mean anything bad to him, but I mean guys that can actually. friend of mine's answered. I was posting. I was at the Iowa caucus with pictures and stuff. He said, "Get a pic with Bernie." Well, Bernie wasn't at this caucus. He said, "We're at Safeway right now." I'm going to tell him. You got to let him know. I told him, good for you. But no. Yeah, I've never heard of any other sport. Golf is the only one I've ever seen where they allow somebody to call in to make a complaint that they broke a rules. So it says I just seen Alex Jones is live. He's talking about something, so it'll be interesting to see. I'll try to get that information later. I don't want it's a live shot, so I don't want to do is I'll pick it up after after the live shot is done. Oh, it's about time we take our first break. We're going to do is come back. We're going to talk about, we got NASA. We're going to talk about The Guardian shutting down their comment section. We got the Zika virus we got to talk about. Some girl forced to convert to Islam. We got a ton of different stuff. We got Hillary's emails, more about that. We got Palin going off on a TV host, so make sure you tune back in. We'll be back here shortly. If I can ever find a button to switch screen. So we a lot of stuff going on.
Concerned about my child's health, so I pack for his lunchbox, and after school, I give him St. Julian's macaroons as a healthy alternative to many of the store-bought cookies. There are no preservatives and only 100 calories, and he really likes them. So find them in the freezer section at your local supermarket or order online today at www.macaroons.com.
Hey there, sexy. This is comedian Jenny Lavoie. You can catch me with the rest of the gang every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Night Talk with Joe Ross, exclusively on Armed Radio Global. Mwah!
Hey, this is your girl, Jane Monique.
And this is Sarah, a.k.a. Chulita Sarita.
And make sure you listen to us on Armed Radio Global. Catch us on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This one's explosive.
Route 106 Motors is the home of fine pre-owned vehicles. Experience a no-pressure sale with a family-friendly atmosphere. Route 106 Motors has been practicing the same simple philosophy of low prices for over a decade, and it has brought us great success. Recently, while other dealers are closing their doors, Route 106 Motors is expanding. We are a wholesale dealer, and we own the property and pay cash for all the vehicles. This allows us to sell to the consumer for a lot less than the average dealership. We are a high-volume, small-profit dealer, and we pass the savings on to you. New changes have been made at Route 106 Motors. Stop by and check out our brand-new building. Route 106 Motors, located at 569 West Street. Check our website at route106motors.com and be sure to like us on Facebook to find out about all the latest deals and savings opportunities. route106motors.com.
Hey, Joe Rocks, it's Louis Avis, straight from Chi-Town. Call and talk about our website, www.hotsaucevault.com. We got everything you can think of out there, Joe. The hottest hot sauces, not for wimps, mild, medium sauces. We got barbecue sauces, snacks, some of our gift ideas and gag gifts, so you can go out and check us out at www.hotsaucevault.com. Hope to talk to you again on your radio show. Kick-ass show. Had a great time last week. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care, Joe. hotsaucevault.com.
Let's get this thing started.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're listening to Sammy V. I mean, I'm not gonna rap or sing or play any sort of music. I'm just here to tell you that you should listen to my new radio show. That's right, my new radio show, live on Armed Radio Global. It's every Tuesday, 10:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be there and listen to Thoughts for Food, the radio show. Or better known as Candy for Your Ears.
This is Kimmy Pops, and you're listening to Arms Radio, home of the big guns.
Hey everyone, this is Monica Ursino. Be sure to check out my music on WARM, Boston's digital dance station. And you can catch me on Night Talk with Joe Rocks, Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Armed Radio Global.
Are you hangry? Know the signs. Uncontrollable yelling.
Why aren't you egg rolls?
Hallucination.
Sushi.
Pants discomfort.
I hate you, pants.
Hangry. It can happen to anyone. Fortunately, there's E24, the app that tells hunger to shut up.
Egg rolls. Thanks, Snoop.
E24, in my medical opinion, it's the best way to order food online, baby.
Hey everybody, Mike Allen here. You can hear me live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on TuneIn Radio. Or you can visit my website at www.ontheairwithmikeallen.com for more showtimes, updates, and replays. So remember, every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, on the air with Mike Allen, right here on Armed Radio Global.
Hey everybody, this is Paul and Jim. Join us on Pod Talk Radio, Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after Night Talk with Joe Rocks,
where we will be discussing subjects one doesn't say in polite society. We're rude and crude and unwavering in our opinions.
So please tune in to Armed Radio Global, home of the big guns.
Boom!
It was like a shadow in the night. My hair was standing on end. I was frozen in fear. I couldn't believe it. They really are here. Make sure you join the Alien Invasion Response Team. Tune in for the message every Monday and Friday for Straight Talk with Matt Hasley, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, only on Arm Radio Global. Be ready. They're coming.
And we're back right now. Currently, Marco Rubio addresses supporters and Senator Cruz wins Iowa caucus. Right now, it is currently the final results in. It said Ted Cruz 28%, Donald Trump 24%, finished in second. Marco Rubio with 23%, Ben Carson 9, Rand Paul 5, Jeb Bush 3, John Kasich 2, Carly Fiorina 2, Mike Huckabee 2, Chris Christie 2, and that should be Jim Gilmore should be less than 1%. I don't know exactly what it was, but that's your final. And in the Democratic side, currently right now with 88% reporting, Hillary Clinton with 50%, Bernie Sanders at 49%. Martin O'Malley at 1%. So it will be interesting to see what the final is. I have not. They don't show a vote total like they do with the Republicans. But Bernie Sanders was a little miffed, I guess you would call it. It'd be a polite word. There was a report out that Microsoft is doing the results, and Microsoft calls Iowa for Hillary before it helps count the vote. So even before the votes were even tallied, this went out way before. It says Sanders supporters concerned over impartiality. Microsoft Bing Technology has called Iowa for Hillary Clinton, a result that has not gone unnoticed among Bernie Sanders supporters, given that the app created by Microsoft will help tally the vote during the caucus. How could they call the caucus before their votes are even done? It says using data from polls predicting markets and anonymized and aggregated search engine queries to predict its results, Microsoft forecasts that Hillary will win 3 out of the first 4 Democratic primaries, taking Iowa, South Carolina, and Nevada, with Sanders taking New Hampshire. Although the technology isn't perfect, Microsoft correctly predicted the outcome of the 2015 Academy Awards, the no vote for Scottish independence, and the outcome of more than 95% of 2014 midterm elections. That track record is causing consternation amongst the Bernie Sanders supporters, who have pointed out a potential conflict of interest, given that the precinct officials will be using an app created by Microsoft to report the caucus results. And everybody goes, well, what does that make a difference? Well, if you are a Bernie Sanders supporter and they say, well, Iowa's already won for Hillary, and this is a day before the election, well, you might say, what the heck am I going to go vote for anyway then? She's not going to win. Why go vote? Well, that vote might be the vote or votes that you drum up people to go with you that help push that candidate over top of the other one. They should not have even mentioned anything about it. Because they should be, if they're making the software or writing the software, they need to do is be impartial. So that's what worries me when you have a company that comes out and tries to announce results before they're even in. You know, I always wondered how they could sit there and they'd call a state in, like when they be in the primary election. You know, when they finally get, not primary, but when they get to the actual general election, and they're calling states with only 2% in, and I'm like, how can you do that? You know, 2% voting, we calling it, and they'd already call it for a candidate, and I'm like, what? But it says last week, Pete D. Alessandro, who is running Sanders' Iowa campaign, questioned the impartiality of the app, telling MSNBC, you have to ask yourself why they want to give something like that away for free. Some fear that hackers could penetrate the cloud network on which the app runs in order to skew the vote. Closed source technologies from companies like Microsoft could, in theory, contain backdoor or vulnerabilities that hackers and evildoers could exploit. Even worse, Microsoft or its employees could purposely alter voting software to influence outcome, writes Brian Fagoli. That's the thing that worries me more. Is you could have 100,000 voters, and Microsoft, because they're in the pocket of somebody, they're wanting that candidate to win, they could sit there and skew the vote to their candidate wins. Tends to make me wonder if voting machines and the vote is very impartial. Because I know that you could have a primary, and you could have somebody that works as election judge, and all they have to do is be in cahoots with one other friend, because it's usually only 2 or 3 people that are counting the votes, and win your area. But if you have a company like, but you're not going to affect the total vote for that area, for maybe one little part of the county, but not the whole state. But if you're able to do is alter the software, here comes Donald Trump, just coming up to the stage right now. We're going to see if we got Donald Trump.
you very much. I love you people. I love you people. Thank you. Unbelievable. I have to start by saying I absolutely love the people of Iowa. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, on June 16th, when we started this journey, there were 17 candidates. I was told by everybody, do not go to Iowa. You could never finish even in the top 10. And I said, but I have friends in Iowa. I know a lot of people in Iowa. I think they'll really like me. Let's give it a shot. They said, don't do it. I said, I have to do it. And we finished second. And I want to tell you something. I'm just honored. I'm really honored. And I want to congratulate Ted. And I want to congratulate all of the incredible candidates, including Mike Huckabee, who's become a really good friend of mine. So congratulations to everybody. Congratulations. I want to thank all of the folks that worked with us. We had a great team, and we will continue to have a great team. And we're just so happy with the way everything worked out. And most importantly, I have to thank my wife, and Laura, and Eric, and Vanessa, and Don. They went out and they were doing speeches, and in fact, Don and Eric, I think you did about 6 speeches today. So I just want to thank my family. They have been so amazing and so supportive. And we've had every indication. We're going now on. We have a poll. We're at 28 points ahead. Okay, New Hampshire, we love New Hampshire. We love South Carolina. And we're leaving tonight, and tomorrow afternoon we'll be in New Hampshire, and that'll be something special. It's going to be a great week, and we're going to be up here next week. And I think we're going to be proclaiming victory, I hope. I will say this. I don't know who's going to win between Bernie and Hillary. I don't know what's going to happen with Hillary. She's got other problems, maybe bigger than the problems she's got in terms of nominations. But we've had so many different indications and polls that we beat her, and we beat her easily. And we will go on to get the Republican nomination, and we will go on to easily beat Hillary or Bernie or whoever the hell they throw up there. Iowa, we love you. We thank you. You're special. We will be back many, many times. In fact, I think I might come here and buy a farm. I love it, okay? Thank you.
Well, that was Donald Trump talking about his second place in the caucus. He, right now, also, they just reposted with 90% in. It's a dead heat. Clinton, 50%. Bernie Sanders, 50%. So this is going to be very close. And I agree with him that Hillary's got more problems than Bernie Sanders has given her. She's got stuff and could maybe a federal indictment. Who knows? And we'll see if the FBI puts it up there and actually does it. But, it'll be interesting to see what happens down the road. I know Mr. Joe Rocks is a Trump supporter. He has been to a Trump rally. My son, lucky enough, got to go. He went last Saturday night. Donald Trump was here local. I couldn't get to the Trump rally. I'd like to see him in person. I'd like to see any of the candidates in person and hear what they have to say that's going to tell me how they're going to run this country. I watched the debates. I watched part of the Democrat. I actually watched the last Democrat debate, and it looks like Martin O'Malley was scared in the last debate. Hillary, I don't know. Bernie wants to give stuff to everybody. I bet he's got to be. He must give out more presents at Christmas than he can imagine. He gives out stuff for everybody. So, actually, probably not true. because he'd probably have to give out stuff from. He would have to get the gifts from somebody else to give them. So that's my take on it. But if Joe wants to come on here, Mike wants to come on, or Mike Allen, talk about the caucus, who they think. Next week, they're into New Hampshire. It's going to be a whirlwind. Finally, my phone gets to quiet down. It's been amazing. It was neat to go to. I've never done a caucus before, but it was neat to sit there and go to it and see how many passionate people were there that are tired of this country being run the way it is. And hopefully, that we can do is take back this country and get to where we can get our economy going in the right direction. I sat next to a gentleman at the caucus who told me that he told me that in the last 60 years, talking about how many times they had the Republicans had held, part of the office or whatever. It was 13 years out of the last 60. You look at some of these counties that they have, or states they have, and cities that like major Democratic cities, and they sit there nonstop and they blame the Republicans. They blame the Republicans for Chicago. They blame the Republicans for Baltimore. They blame the Republicans for everything, and they haven't had Flint, Michigan. They're blaming the Republicans for the water, blaming it that they're trying to poison the blacks. Well, if you look at all the city council that's through Flint, Michigan, they're all Democrats. They failed the people of Flint, Michigan. Not just, the Republicans that they want to blame. They want to blame it as the Republicans were the ones at fault. You look at Flint, Michigan. That's ridiculous. You wouldn't let your dog drink that water, and how somebody can let that go. That's scary. You watch them; they scoop the water right out, and it's yellow. How somebody can sit there and let that happen? You're going to have to bathe in that every day. They make shower heads that filter out stuff. I don't know if that could be filtered out, but that's sickening. But it just bothers me when they try to. They're so against each other. I watched a video that was shared to me, and it wasn't. It said, it was talking about what do we do from when we start out as kids. When you're born, you don't sit there and hold anything against anybody. But the older we get, they start checking off boxes. Are you male? Are you female? Are you black? Are you white? Are you Asian? Are you Hispanic? Are you Muslim? Are you Catholic? Are you Jewish? There's a constant change they're trying to get you to do is separate yourself and divide us more and more and more. Are you Democrat? Are you Republican? Are you an independent? Are you straight? Are you gay? Are you bi? Are you, It's unbelievable. Are you man, woman, transgender, it's ridiculous. They want us to be constantly at each other if we all learn to do is put our pettiness aside, first of all, we're humans. Second of all, we're Americans. And you look at people right now, you can, I spend, my family spends $1,200 a month for health insurance. That's ridiculous. And it was supposed to save us $2,500 a year. You think about that. $1,200 a month. You know, you take, and you think about a family that pays $1,200. It's over $14,000 a year for health insurance. Almost $14,400 to be exact. But and that's not any copays or any medical or for medication or for any office visits. And if we have anything where we have to do, you know, we have a deductible that we have to reach. And once we reach the deductible, then they cover it. So, I mean, you look at it, $14,000. That's a ton of your income to just take right off the top. So they want to do is, Bernie Sanders wants to do, is raise the tax rate to 92%. Think about that. If you make $50,000 a year, what are you left with? $4,000. And they go, oh, no, that's just for the ultra rich, you know. But you look at the ultra rich, they exempt themselves from Obamacare because they are in the pockets with these politicians. They exempt, you know, they pay, people go, well, they pay little or no taxes. Well, I hate to tell you, but somebody that makes $1 million a year, if they pay 10% in tax, pays more taxes than somebody who makes $100,000 a year. I'm sorry, it is. So they just, people don't understand it. They think that they should pay, you know, if it was, I wish they'd go with a flat tax. I'd love to do that. Yeah, what is it? I'm trying to think of who had the 10-10-10. Had the 10% tax, 10% sales tax, you know, everything all the way across. And, you know, it's not a bad idea. But, I mean, it lowered my federal tax, that's for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes on the rest of this election. But talking about other news, we were in talking about hit the news. A private hacker group known as, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it, ANOSEC, ANONSEC, has just released 276 gigabytes of data they hacked from inside NASA's international network. The files were given to Alex Jones at InfoWars and include 631 videos from aircraft and weather radars, 2,143 flight logs, 2,414 employee information. But just what was discovered inside these hacks. The video below, they have a video of it. You can go watch it. You can see it right. Go to beforeitsnews.com. And it's the headline is called NASA Gets Hacked. What was leaked turns this conspiracy into fact. So the truth, the government has been spraying deadly chemicals in our skies, chemtrails. Everybody thought about them being chemtrails. And the government has denied it for years. It says the truth of the government has been spraying deadly chemtrails in our skies in the hopes of population reduction. Furthermore, they have been using geoengineering as biological testing agents on the populace, all while claiming They are nothing more than mere vapor. Now we have 110% undeniable proof that our government is purposely supporting this experimentation on the population last year. This is Lisa Haven. She interviewed both Marie Sherbaum Snow and Corey Gunnels, who not only got their name put on the map because of their original encounter with the mysterious chemical fibers, but also because they have been collecting tangible data to make the case once and for all and prove they were being littered by geoengineering chemicals in our food, water, and our bodies. We dived through many blood samples, rain samples, and air particulate samples. She discussed their personal encounters with various branches of the government who ultimately gave them the runaround. So, check out good video. That's by Lisa Haven. Lisa's been on the show before, and she's excellent for information on this. This is coming out. This is coming through also through InfoWars, which is Alex Jones, and they apparently, with the hack that they were able to do, is they were able to control a drone and fly it out towards off course and out towards sea. So let me see if I can find. Here you go. And this is one of the InfoWars exclusive. It says hackers allegedly hijacked drone after massive breach at NASA. Hackers. It says going down. It says, and they post a Zine or a self-published paper detailing the hack dubbed "Op NASA Drone Reveals Everything from NSX Motives to the Specific Technical Vulnerabilities That Enabled the Extensive Breach." NASA has been breached more times than most people can honestly remember. However, this hack into NASA wasn't initially focused on drones, data, and upper atmospheric chemical samples. In fact, the original breach in the NASA system wasn't even planned. It was caught up in a Gozi virus spread. The hackers write, referring to an infamous Trojan that has infected more than 1 million computers to date. The hack, after purchasing an initial foothold, from a hacker with knowledge of NASA's servers for over 2 years ago, the group said began testing on how many machines it could break into and root, a term referring to an account with complete control over the computer or network. It said brute forcing an administrator SSH password, which reportedly took 0.32 seconds due to the credentials being left as default. NSX gained further access inside, allowing them to grab even more login data with hidden packet sniffer. It says TC dump. The hackers say while some members map the network, others analyze the different missions, air bases, and aircraft listed by agency. Public missions like OIB, Operation Icebridge, and drones such as Global Hawk were among those mentioned. Deleting records of the presence as they hacked deeper into the agency's system, NSX, who even hacked security cameras and uncovered the schematics to one base camera layout, then infiltrated the networks at Glenn Research Center, Goddard Space Flight Center, and Dryden Flight Research Center. Said once inside, the group says it began noticing numerous systems and network devices popping up in scans that were not previously visible. After sniffing a password belonging to the system administrator, the hacker says they were eventually able to gain full root access to the 3 network-attached storage NAS device tasked with compiling backup of aircraft flight logs. It says now we had all 3 NAS devices automatically making copies of the logs as they uploaded from the drones and renaming them to look like simple semi-ordinary index files. The group writes, mocking the system administrator responsible for protecting the data. It said hackers attempt to crash drone into the Pacific Ocean. As the information began flowing unsuspectingly to an NSEC-controlled server outside NASA network, analysts of the data yielded what the hackers described as weird traffic. According to the group, the traffic consisted of pre-planned route option, flies over, or which allow NASA to upload specific flight plans prior to takeoff. After protests from several hackers, the group says it decided to carry out a man-in-the-middle, MITM, attacks several months later that replaced the drone's route file with one of their own in an attempt to crash it into the ocean. Several members were in a disagreement on this because it worked. We would be able to label terrorist and possibly crashing a $222.7 million U.S. drone. But we continue anyways. And it says LOL. Design states, a screenshot from the hackers show their intended flight path, which they say was cut short after the drone pilots on the ground likely noticed the aircraft's unusual behavior, forcing NASA to restore manual control. It said this recreated flight is from the attempt to crash the Global Hawk into the Pacific Ocean, but seemed to have taken off the course by malicious pre-planned route was controlled via SATCOM by a pilot on the ground. Realized the hacker right. Soon after the alleged drone episode, the group says it was completely shut out of the NASA networks. Whether it was high amount of traffic sending drone logs across their compromised network or the attempted crashing of their Global Hawk that caused them to finally inspect their networks, we don't know. But went down soon after. When they came back up several days later, we had lost complete access. Despite NASA's ability to boot the hackers by changing passwords and patching critical vulnerabilities, vast amounts of information had already been exfiltrated. So people might find this lack of security surprising, but it's pretty standard from our experience, the group says. Once you get past the main line of defense, they're pretty much smooth sailing, propagating through a network as long as you can maintain access. So you look at that, they go through and they got flight logs, they got pictures. It's amazing. You look at this article. It says a 2013 article from Slate entitled "Climate Intelligence Agency." The CIA is now funding research into manipulating the climate. It examines a 21-month, $630,000 project carried out by the National Academy of Sciences. The goal of the CIA-backed NAS study is to conduct a technical evaluation of limited number of proposed geoengineering techniques, according to NAS website. The article reads, scientists will attempt to determine which geoengineering techniques are feasible and try to evaluate the impact and the risks of each. It says another article from the Telegraph listed by the hackers mentioned how the Chinese government covered Beijing in snow after meteorologists seeded clouds to bring weather to the capital in an effort to combat lingering drought. The hackers argued that if cloud seeding, geoengineering, and weather modification are all publicly acknowledged as real, why are chemtrails discredited when it's literally the same thing, just with a different name? So it says, we find it staggering how many people still don't believe the federal government is doing this when it's already public knowledge that the CIA is funding studies. Certain states and counties already have weather modification programs in place for the past several years, not to mention all the government whistleblowers. So you look at that. You got our government into weather modification. So if they can weather modify it to rain, they could probably weather modify it to be a drought. You look at these HARP, and people hear these sounds in the sky and these different, humming sounds. And they have these HARP stations all over the place. And it's supposedly sending massive amounts of electricity up into the atmosphere, which causes it to do different things with our atmosphere. So, it's scary to think what they're trying to do with the different stuff going on. But, I've always heard about chemtrails. It's interesting to see, and hear about it. So, I don't like, people that hack into places like that. But the problem is certain things like that where it'll happen and, it opens people's eyes up. I'm not a real fan of people hacking into, sites like that. Right now you got current update. Republicans already been called. They got 99% voters in. You got the Democrat. You got Hillary at 50%. Bernie Sanders at 49%. You got 94% in. So you still got 6% left to report. And Martin O'Malley still at 1%. So nothing really new. It was it went 50-50, which I don't know how you can be 50-50 with Martin O'Malley at 1%. It could be 49-49, and 1%, and then so much left undecided. But it can't be 50-50 with 1%. I'm sorry, but there's no such. I don't know. They could probably count 101%, knowing the way the Democrats are. But I don't know. But you're talking about speaking about the candidates. I had to laugh. I saw an article today, and it came out. It was on Breitbart. Azealia Banks endorses Donald Trump. She says, it says rapper Azealia Banks is ready to vote for Donald Trump should he earn the Republican presidential nomination, because America is inherently evil and full of you-know-what. So we may as well put a piece of you-know-what in the White House, she said. It said the rapper, who previously said she hates everything about this country, kicked off a series of Twitter posts late Sunday night by saying she is ready to admit she's going to vote for Donald Trump. Her tweets as they went across was, okay, I think I'm ready to go to vote for Donald Trump. The next one, she says, I think Trump is the only one who truly has the balls to bust up big business. Hillary is too tied in with them, and Bernie has no clout. And then the next one, the other candidates are simply them hoes over there, she said. Next tweet, she said, just because Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders say nice things about minorities doesn't mean, or they actually mean them. True. Right there. That's probably the best statement that she made right there. That says, politicians have been saying nice things about colored folks, and we're still getting the F word she put down. I'm happy that she's starting to wake up. They could care less. They want you to be that lower, so they can hand you out stuff all the time. That's what they plan on doing. She says, I only trust this country to be what is full of you-know-what. Takes blank to know blank. So you might as well put a blank in the White House, she said. And then she says, I have no hope for America. It is what it is. Capitalist, consumerist, racist land of make-believe. It's inherently evil and must feed. Well, she made a ton of tweets. I'm not even going to go through them all because there's like another 15 more. But I think she's right on one case. They do not care. They don't care who They step on. I guarantee you, Hillary Clinton, if elected, does not care about anybody but herself. You want another Benghazi? Well, you're going to get it. And people sit there and they go, "Oh my God, I'm just so tired of listening to Benghazi." Tell that to the family of the 4 people that were killed there. If one of your family members were killed there, how would you feel? Would you think, oh, that's been so long ago? Give me a break. You want to do is find out what's going on to solve the situation. Find out what happened. Well, you look at she lied. She lied through her teeth. And now she lied about her emails. She sat there and she said, "Oh, I'm running overtime. I got to take another quick break." So before we get into Hillary's emails and other stories, we're going to take a quick break. I've been going on ranting. I didn't realize that we're way over time. So what we're going to do is take I'll be back here shortly.
Mom, can you pack me some cookies for school today?
Finally. As a mother, I want to share about St. Julian's macaroons. I am concerned about my child's health, so I pack for his lunchbox, and after school, I give him St. Julian's macaroons as a healthy alternative to many of the store-bought cookies. There are no preservatives and only 100 calories, and he really likes them. So find them in the freezer section at your local supermarket or order online today at www.macaroons.com.
Hey there, sexy. This is comedian Jenny Lavoie. You can catch me with the rest of the gang every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Night Talk with Joe Rocks, exclusively on Armed Radio Global. Mwah!
Hey, this is your girl, Jane Monique.
And this is Sarah, a.k.a. Chulita Sarita.
And make sure you listen to us on Armed Radio Global. Catch us on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This one's explosive.
Route 106 Motors is the home of fine pre-owned vehicles. Experience a no-pressure sale with a family-friendly atmosphere. Route 106 Motors has been practicing the same simple philosophy of low prices for over a decade, and it has brought us great success. Recently, while other dealers are closing their doors, Route 106 Motors is expanding. We are a wholesale dealer, and we own the property and pay cash for all the vehicles. This allows us to sell to the consumer for a lot less than the average dealership. We are a high-volume, small-profit dealer, and we pass the savings on to you. New changes have been made at Route 106 Motors. Stop by and check out our brand new building. Route 106 Motors, located at 569 West Street. Check our website at route106motors.com and be sure to like us on Facebook to find out about all the latest deals and savings opportunities. route106motors.com.
Hey, Joe Rocks, it's Louis Avis, straight from Chi-Town. Call and talk about our website, www.hotsaucevault.com. We got everything you can think of out there, Joe. The hottest hot sauces, not for wimps, mild, medium sauces. We got barbecue sauces, snacks, some of our gift ideas and gag gifts, so you can go out and check us out at www.hotsaucevault.com. Hope to talk to you again on your radio show. Kick-ass show. Had a great time last week. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care, Joe. hotsaucevault.com.
Let's get this thing started.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're listening to Sammy V. I mean, I'm not gonna like rap or sing or play any sort of music. I'm just here to tell you that you should listen to my new radio show. That's right, my new radio show, live on Armed Radio Global. It's every Tuesday, 10:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be there and listen to Thoughts for Food, the radio show. Or better known as Candy for Your Ears.
This is Kimmy Pops, and you're listening to Arms Radio, home of the big guns.
Hey everyone, this is Monica Ursino. Be sure to check out my music on WARM, Boston's digital dance station. And you can catch me on Night Talk with Joe Rock Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Armed Radio Global.
Are you hangry? Know the signs. Uncontrollable yelling.
Why aren't you egg rolls?
Hallucination.
Sushi.
Pants discomfort.
I hate you, pants.
Hangry. It can happen to anyone. Fortunately, there's E24, the app that tells hunger to shut up.
Egg rolls. Thanks, Snoop.
E24. In my medical opinion, it's the best way to order food online, baby.
Hey everybody, Mike Allen here. You can hear me live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on TuneIn Radio. Or you can visit my website at www.ontheairwithmikeallen.com for more show times, updates, and replays. So remember, every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, on the air with Mike Allen, right here on Armed Radio Global.
Hey everybody, this is Paul and Jim. Join us on Pod Talk Radio, Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after Night Talk with Joe Rocks,
where we will be discussing subjects one doesn't say in polite society. We're rude and crude and unwaver in our opinions.
So please tune in to Armed Radio Global, home of the big guns.
Boom!
We're back. We've been talking quite a bit about the Iowa caucus and a little stuff going on, NASA getting hacked. And we talked about, tons of different stuff. But I went to the caucus tonight and had to miss, and I'll watch it on demand, but the X-Files. And apparently, there's a story going out that the X-Files was actually canceled 10 years ago because of George Bush. And this is, it was canceled in 2002. And it says, apparently the president could not allow mainstream questioning of official narrative. Well, there's been a ton of 9/11 conspiracy questions that's gone around. I've had several. I've had Dylan Avery and Corey Rowe from what the heck is the name of it? It was they were a 9/11 truther film. It was Loose Change. First time I watched it, and I saw the towers go down myself. I saw everything, and didn't think of anything of it, any chance that it would be, that I believed the story 100%. I was just like, wow, okay, but having the people on multiple different times, and also having, James Fetzer on, we talked about it. I've done more research into 9/11, done more research into, false flag stuff that have gone on. Sandy Hook was, doesn't add up. If you ever wonder about Sandy Hook, search Sandy Hook children sitting on President Obama's lap. There is two photos. They superimpose each photo over top of each other. They're not at the same angle, but they superimpose them. And they fade one in, and the other fades out. And as they do it, the little girl that's supposed to have died, who her dad was a doctor, who they interviewed that night, and the daughter was supposed to have died. Nowadays, they have technology that's just amazing. They couldn't do this years ago. They're able to do is take photos, and every time you save a photo, it changes its resolution. So if you edit a photo and you take and Photoshop somebody into a photo, and then you save it again, well, the pixel rate will be different for the older part of it. It'll be lower. And the new person that you've added in there will be higher. Well, they're able to take the photos from Sandy Hook, like the classroom photo and the photo of the shooter and the photos from the parents, and they don't match up. There's anomalies in all of them. And you look at the photo of the family where two girls are sitting on the lap of the family, and the one girl's hand is deformed. It is the worst Photoshop job I've ever seen. And it's a notable photo that's been around everywhere. And you look at that's for Sandy Hook. And also, one of the parents, there's photos of him in SWAT gear the day of the shooting. And he's not supposed to be a SWAT guy. He's not an FBI agent. What's that tell you? He was an actor. They show him walking around the crime, back and forth multiple times. They got tons of video of him walking around, 3 of them. And they're walking back and forth. He's carrying two weapons. And you look at it and you go, what are they trying to sell? They're trying to sell you this big rouge that's going on. What's the purpose of it? To further advance gun control. So what happened at that town? That town is all bought by houses are bought by everybody that's of the same mindset. It's a small little town. You ask people that lived around there, they said the school's been was vacant for years before that. But what'd they get out of it? They got a brand new school. They got $50 million of hush money to build a new school. I mean, it's amazing how people will sell their whole life existence out for money. I mean, it's crazy that they'll sell out and want to ruin everybody. It's not enough that they want to do is ban assault rifles. They want to do is confiscate all weapons. They don't tell you that, but they do. Even Hillary admitted it. Hillary said that she'd like to do is ban weapons and go for confiscation like they do in Australia. Well, Australia's crime has gone through the roof. Did you know that it is actually an $80 fine in Australia if you do not vote? We don't realize how lucky we are to be able to vote. I would love to see it go for the populist vote. But the problem is what's going on with electoral votes like that is it can be so skewed. So keep an eye on this electoral process, because this is a right that you have that some other countries don't have. They can't vote. They had in China, they had China Idol or kind of like that, and they were allowing people to vote, and then they went, whoa, oh no, we're not going to do that. They didn't want them to have any taste of what it would be like to actually elect somebody. So the Chinese government, this is a couple of years ago, but they stood it, we'll pick the winner. Yeah, okay. So that just pretty much tells you, what's going on. But I had to laugh. Speaking of Hillary was interviewed. It said about her emails. It said, Hillary, rules should change to keep people from doing what I did with my emails. I'm like, oh, give me a break. Democratic presidential candidate, the rules should change to prevent people from doing what I did with her emails in an interview with Des Moines, Iowa's NBC affiliate Channel 13 WHO broadcast on Sunday News Today in Iowa. Hillary asked, we have another weekend here where people are kind of seeing some fresh stories about emails. When you're president, will you allow anyone to do what you did? She answered, well, it was allowed then, but I think the rules should change because all the confusion and all the questions, the facts have remained the same. I took classification very seriously. There is absolutely no evidence that I ever received any email marked classified. That has not changed. That is an argument from classification retrospect. She wants to say that because she took the headers off of them. She says there's no evidence. She says there's no evidence. Well, of course there's no evidence because she deleted the evidence. But anybody that was received an email marked H, and that was her, how she used her name, and it was from ClintonEmail.com, should have copies of those emails. So they should be able to find those in there. But I'm like, oh, it was allowed when I did. No, it wasn't allowed. Speaking, we were just talking about Newtown. It says Newtown School covers a Sandy Hook mural that upsets students. This is Hartford, Connecticut. A mural inside Newtown High School that paid tribute to the victims of Sandy Hook shooting rampage was created as a form of art therapy. But within 2 years, the administration became worried that despite its intentions, the painting of a dream catcher was upsetting some students. To address those concerns, painter Lindsay Fiore, at the start of the school year, colored over the words "in loving memory." 12/14/12, a reference to the date of the massacre of the first 20 first graders and 6 educators. They painted over that. It says, They painted over that because it was bothering some. Well, I wonder how many would really bother if they realized what had really happened. Going by what Dr. James Fetzers has researched and everything like that, I just tell people, look for yourself. Watch videos on, and you make a decision. Why would there be so many anomalies in evidence like that? So, well, I constantly see, here's one. This is a friend of mine shared this on Facebook, and I had not seen this article until he shared it. But it says, scientists get gene editing go-ahead. This is from the BBC News website. It says UK scientists had been given the go-ahead by the fertility regulator to genetically modify human embryos. It's the first time a country has considered the DNA altering technique in embryos and approved it. The research will take place at Francis Crick Institute in London and aims to provide a deeper understanding of the earliest moments of human life. It says it will be illegal for the scientists to implant the modified embryos into a woman, but the field is abstracting controversy over concerns it is opening the door to designer or GM babies. DNA is the blueprint of life. The instructions for building the human body. Gene editing allows precise manipulation of DNA. So, what's the chance that they might test tube baby? In a world first last year, scientists in China announced they had carried out gene editing in human embryos to collect a gene that caused a blood disorder. Professor Lowell Badge, the scientific advisor to the UK fertility regulator, told BBC that China has guidelines, but it's often unclear exactly what they are until you've done it and stepped over the unclear boundary. This is the first time it has gone through a properly regulated system and has been approved. So I guarantee you there are governments that have manipulated with all kinds of different gene stuff. And if you look at the X-Files, how it is, I'm not saying the X-Files is right or whatever is going on, but it hints at that our government is modifying, DNA and stuff like that. So if they hint at it, I guarantee you some government has done it. Some scientist has done it. You look at Jurassic Park, and that somebody would love to do is take the DNA from, a Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever, T-Rex, and bring back one of the dinosaurs. And I'm sure someplace or whatever they have, it would not surprise me that they've used some way to bring back. So that's the scary part of it. Now they want to do it to where they can actually regulate, what can go wrong? What's going to get to the point where they say, oh, well, we're watching it, and somebody do it behind closed doors? It's I think you're opening Pandora's box here. That's what it's scary to think what it could go to. You look at, speaking of that, it's the Zika virus. You've heard about it. It says Zika is this virus the mosquitoes are actually transporting around, and it's a nasty virus that they're talking about. And they're they're saying that it could be the problem that causes these babies are being born with abnormally small skulls, but they're not, where the mother has been bitten while she's pregnant. Well, it says this is an international law professor, Francis A. Boyle, this is coming off of InfoWars, who drafted the Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act of 1989, revealed the Zika virus was souped up as a bioweapon by world governments and non-government organizations during January 29th interview on the Alex Jones Show. So he come out and said this is an actual biowarfare. It said long after the mainstream media admitted Zika outbreak was possibly caused by the release of genetically modified mosquitoes in Brazil. So it says the Zika virus outbreak currently gripping Americas could have been sparked by the release of genetically modified mosquitoes in 2012, critics say. The insects were engineered by biotechnology experts to combat the spread of dengue fever and other diseases and released it into the general population. But the World Health Organization, WHO, now meeting in Geneva, is desperately discussing cures for the Zika virus. Speculation has mounted as to the cause of the sudden outbreak. The Zika virus was first discovered in the 1950s, but the recent outbreak has escalated alarmingly, causing birth defects and a range of health problems in South and Central America. So, it says 2010 Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded Australian research to release GMO mosquitoes infected with a bacterium. That same year, Bill Gates admitted he believed in population reduction. The world has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to be about 9 billion. He said during the TED 2010 conference, now if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, and reproductive health services, we lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. So, listen to that statement. So now if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we lower that by 10 or 15%. So they want to lower the population by 10 or 15%. You think about somebody that's that wealthy and they think about getting rid of 15% of the population. I don't care who it is. So that's pretty scary to think. As as wealthy as he is, he's got probably enough money to sit there and sanction it. But you sit there, they're talking about these, people are scared. They're causing more, they're causing more abortions to happen. It says Planned Parenthood's capitalizing on the Zika tragedy to promote abortion in Latin America. Well, you think about that. We talked about when does life start? Well, tell you what, if we saw microorganisms on another planet, we'd talk about how that was life. I've talked about that before. But here, you'll take a 3 or 4 month old baby in the womb and you don't call it life. Well, I think we got a problem when we don't respect life. So, here's one. Let's see, we got... this is a story came up. This is out of the This is off of Breitbart. The Guardian, it says, going to close its comments on articles. It says a new strategy is aiming to counter unacceptable level of toxic commentary on our website. An opinion piece began in yesterday's Observer, the Sunday edition of the Guardian newspaper. So the article, written by the Observer's reader's editor, Stephen Pritchard, outlined how the paper, which recently announced a massive cost-cutting exercise, says it's going to start censoring its readers on articles about race, immigration, and Islam. We're living in an age of rage. The pieces begins going on to explain that because people are angry with government, with media, with religion, with migration, with Europe, and with big business, the paper will no longer tolerate its readers expressing these views. Below the line on the website, it ironically named "Comment is free." The name comes from Charles Prestwich Scott, one editor of which was called the Manchester Guardian. Now it's just the Guardian. The late Liberal member of the Parliament apparently always said that comment is free, but facts are sacred. Now it appears that the comment is sacred too. In the words of Pritchett, the Guardian has long sought to create a reasonable debate instead of allowing for free speech, barring threats, etc. He bemoans the use of comment section for propaganda posting. Although the Guardian is notorious for allowing the behavior above the line, even promoting anti-Israel material by the leader of the terrorist outfit Hamas, they had to close the comments on that op-ed too. So, they don't want you to talk bad anything about Islam. So, we ought to do is shut it down. Well, you know, you look at the outrage that goes, oh, wow, they're showing Fox declares Iowa Democrat caucus race too close to call. Hillary Clinton 50, Bernie Sanders 50, Martin O'Malley 1%, with 94% in. I'm like, how do you get 101%? So, shouldn't they both be 49-49? But, I don't know. It's, so you look at I got sidetracked there. You look at one of the things right before we get done, I got about 5 minutes or so. I saw a video that come across Facebook, and this is the one thing I wanted to talk about. Is I saw a video where it was talking about a bus driver, and she said every day she'll stop, put on the lights, and put out the flashing stop sign and the flashing lights, and approximately 9 cars pass her bus every day with the lights on, almost running over kids. And I bring this up, and people will sit there and they, unless you got kids that are going to school, they're like, oh yeah, whatever, But you pass a bus and run over a kid, you're going to be able to live with yourself. I know it would probably destroy me. Oh my God. Hillary yakking away. Watching Hillary point her finger and yak. I just can't. I have no respect for that lady. She is so phony. But getting back to the bus driver, she said 9 people pass her bus every day with the lights going. So you think about it. Next time you're out there, and you see a bus, or you see people going through school zones, and they blow through these school zones doing 30, 35, they don't care. There's nobody there to stop them. My God, slow down, people. I worry about my son. My son gets out, he rides the bus to and from school. I'm out there every morning with him at, 7:30 in the morning, getting on the bus, and, it would just, devastate a family to have their kid get killed by somebody because they can't wait for a bus. They're that impatient. So, I mean, it's not that long. I know everybody thinks that, oh my God, they got to go, their life's more important. We're going to end up with one more story, and this one comes about, this is a story, another one off of Breitbart. It says, young girl forced to convert to Islam in class. It says, it's a report in the Daily Mail. But it was put on Breitbart. And the parents of a Maryland teenager have launched a lawsuit against their daughter's public high school, claiming the district forced a 16-year-old to take classes that promote Islam over Christianity and Judaism. John Wood, a former Marine, and his wife, Melissa Wood, have filed civil rights complaints against La Plata High School, alleging their daughter, identified only as CW, spent one day in modern history class studying Christianity, followed by 2 weeks immersed in Islam. According to the court documents obtained by the Daily Mail 1 online, the 11th grader had to profess to Shahada by claiming that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Such discriminatory treatment of Christianity is an unconstitutional promotion of one religion over another. President and Chief Counsel of the Thomas More Law Center, Richard Thompson said that for non-Muslims reciting such a statement is the equivalent of converting to Islam. He also said the school failed to clearly make note to the students and their families that the study of Islam was to be part of the world history curriculum. Students were also required to memorize and recite the 5 pillars of Islam and were subject to disparaging teachings about Christianity, the Wood said. It said the course also taught false statements such as Allah is the same God worshipped by Christians and Islam is a religion of peace. Thompson said in the filings, a school cannot achieve diversity by punishing and alienating students who hold Judeo-Christian beliefs while bolstering the doctrines and teachings of another religion. Parents must be ever vigilant to the Islamic indoctrination of their children under the guise of teaching history and multiculturalism. This is happening in public schools across the country, and they must take action to stop it. Additionally, the suit claims that Mr. Wood was banned from the school grounds after complaining about the curriculum. So you complain and you get banned. They show pictures of the school, everything. That how that they can sit there and pass that off makes no sense to me. We have to do is sit there and if you want to convert to Islam, fine. But don't make people have to cite this, because in the Islamic religion, that means you are converting. And if these people are teaching that, they should understand that. So I guarantee you that won't be taught at my school. So that's the one thing I have lucky going on. I don't have to worry about my kids actually having to do that. My kids go to a Catholic school, so Well, it's that time of the night. We're going to do is call it a night. Hopefully, you guys listen to the other shows throughout the week. You got Val on tomorrow. New show Outline. You got Thoughts for Food. Mike Allen's on Wednesday night. And then Joe Rocks on Thursday night, and I come back on Friday. So, and then Thoughts for Food on Saturday. So we got 6 nights a week. Make sure you tune in, listen to them, and we'll see you on Friday. Everybody have a great night, a great week, and most of all, be safe.